5 pounds of muscle mass burns 50 to 100 more calories per day at rest. That's awesome. You get to burn an extra 50 to 100 calories doing nothing? Hell yeah. Is that worth an extra 4 to 6 hours a week spent on strength training? Well, I think so. I think that makes sense. No fluff, no gimmicks, just one actionable way to get better, physically, mentally, or emotionally. This is Daily Gains. Let's get after it. Okay, here we are. One more day of the Daily Gains. Today we're going to go over strength training and weight loss. So I hear this quite a bit. I don't need to do strength training because all I want to do is lose weight. So I'm just going to focus on running on the treadmill or walking on the stair climber. Let's dig into that. Here's why that is an absolute fallacy. I'm actually going to give you 5 reasons why. Strength training is the key to weight loss. Here's why. It increases RMR, resting metabolic rate. This means the more lean muscle mass you have, or lean body mass, which is just muscle, the more calories you burn at rest. Your body has to work harder to keep all of that muscle alive. So because the body doesn't carry muscle arbitrarily, you have to work for it. It'll literally shut it off if you don't use it. So you have to use it in order to have it, in order to reap the benefits of it burning calories while you're at rest. So you burn calories even when you're not working out. That's a super fucking huge benefit, I think. All right, number 2. Cardio might, if done at a high level for an extended amount of time, burn more calories in that session than strength training does. Talking about in the session. However, strength training takes longer to recover from due to the fact that recovery is more expensive to the system. So when we work out, we don't grow when we work out. We just tear muscle fibers. We just tear stuff down. We do damage. We use things, muscle groups, to a maximum capacity if we're working out correctly, RPE or rate of perceived exertion, anywhere from 7 to 9. We're doing damage to the body. That's why we're sore. Well, it takes several days to be not sore. It's several days of your body recovering. And if you can consistently hit strength training during the week, 4 to 6 hours total, then you're going to constantly be burning calories because you're repairing. Why wouldn't you do that? Cardio only burns calories. I think the average is 12 hours. So it takes about 12 hours to fully recover from a very heavy cardio session. It takes 24 to 48 to recover from a middle of the road to slightly intense strength training session. So it's just more efficient if we're talking about calorie burn over time, and it's easier to do. That's all done with a neat little system called excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC. If you want to look into that, I think that's a really cool one to research. But it's just burning calories for longer. Number 3, it prevents muscle loss during dieting or weight loss. This is paramount. There is no nutritional cheat code to just burn body fat and keep muscle mass. It doesn't exist. So because we're burning body fat and body mass at the same time when we're losing weight, we have to understand that strength training during dieting is paramount. It's the only way you're going to keep the mass while you're burning the fat. Number 4, it improves insulin sensitivity. This is one that boggles my mind when I talk to people about it, especially people with insulin sensitivity issues. well, I can't work out. I've got this problem, or I can't do this. It's not going to be beneficial. Muscle mass requires insulin. Okay? It's a required enzyme or item to create power. So more muscle equals better sensitivity. Less muscle, worse sensitivity. Meaning if we do not work out, we are exacerbating the problem. We will have more sugar, glucose in the bloodstream by working out less than we will same diet with more strength training. You have more motors to fuel, therefore more use of the insulin inside of the system. And finally, number 5, that's just a change in body composition is what we're going for when we diet. I've never met somebody that says, I just want to lose about 50 pounds just because I don't like those 50 pounds. I don't really care how I look at the end. I don't like 50 pounds extra on me. Absolutely not. People want to lose weight because they want to fucking look good. And you look better if you have defined muscle groups. And we're not talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman. We're just talking about, hey man, I can see your shoulder muscles when you move, or your biceps, or hey, your legs look nice and, what's the word? Toned. Of course they look toned because you have more muscle mass and less body fat. Change in body composition is perfect, paramount for dieting. It's the ultimate goal. You look better with muscle mass than you do just skinny. That's just the way it works. To wrap this all up, we got a real quick fact here. 5 pounds of muscle mass burns 50 to 100 more calories per day at rest. That's awesome. You get to burn an extra 50 to 100 calories doing nothing? Hell yeah, that's awesome. Is that worth an extra 4 to 6 hours a week spent on strength training? Well, I think so. I think that makes sense. So these 5 things, I think, should solidify the point that strength training is key to weight loss. If you want to argue this or think that there's another way around it, please reach out to me. I would love to talk through this because maybe there's something I don't know. And maybe we can get together and start strength training together. I would love that. All right. We all face obstacles: burnout, self-doubt, fear of failure. No one is immune to setbacks. Welcome to Resilience Roulette, where we take on real obstacles and break them down with real strategies. Let's see what's on deck today. All right, and welcome back to another episode of Resilience Roulette. Let's spin the wheel. And we land on fear of change. All right, the fear of change. Well, there's pretty much only one thing that's certain in life, and that's the fact that change will happen. It's an interesting one, though. How many people do you know are absolutely terrified of change, in any form? Probably a lot. I remember when my oldest daughter was, I think, 7, and I got a brand new TV. She was probably younger than that. She might have been like 5. So anyways, got a brand new TV. Went from this huge, clunky, old school, super deep, big screen TV to a slim Ambilight, was the name of the TV. It like shone lights on the sides, so made the screen look bigger, but it was really cool because it was thin. Well, I showed up with this TV in a box, and Emma, my oldest daughter, I absolutely lost it. She just couldn't handle it. She was so upset that we were losing this TV that she just came apart. She didn't even care that we were trading it in for a bigger and better television set. The fear of change was so massive in her life when she was little because she couldn't understand why the change was happening, 1, and 2, wasn't prepared. So I learned from that interaction that my daughter needed a lot of time and space and understanding to mitigate the cost of change. Unfortunately, the older you get, you really can't do that, but you can start to learn and prep yourself for things that might happen. So just like everything we talk about, planning and preparation can eliminate the fear of change, as well as understanding your controlled variables. What are you in control of in life? What can you mitigate the change or cost of? Once we understand what we're in control of, anytime change comes down the pipe, which will be pretty much every day, we can say, all right, that's cool. That might have changed, but I'm still in control of all these other things. These other things are constants in my life. Now, I come across this situation with several coaching clients of mine where we discuss change, we discuss processes, and they don't really have a ton of verbatims in their life. They don't have a morning routine. They don't have a work routine. They kind of have an evening routine, but they just kind of fly willy-nilly. Now, when change comes to those people, it's intense. Something comes down the pipe they're not prepared for, or something changes at work or in their relationships or anything, it throws them for a loop. There's a lot of unknown in their life because they don't have processes. Now, the individuals I work with that have a lot of processes in place, when change comes down the pipe, they're just not as frustrated. It can be something huge, and good Lord knows a lot of huge change happens very quickly. But they're just not as rocked. They're way more in control. Most of their processes, usually all of them, are still in place, but one small variable changes, and they can handle it. So I think the fear of change is really a lack of organization in our life. The fear of change is something else is now out of place. Something else is now out of my hands. Something else is now happening to me. So the more we can control in our environment, the more we understand about our processes, and the more processes we put in place, good routines, healthy habits, the easier it is for us to conceptualize change and then actually deal with it when it comes. That's a wrap for today's episode of The 1%. If you're ready to take your resilience to the next level,
head to odysseyresilience.org to dive deeper into our work, access free resources, and learn how we help high performers redefine resilience.
Thanks for listening. Now go get 1% better.